All right, in this next section, we're going to learn how to deal with x and negative x. And learning how to deal with these is going to be rather easy, I think, compared to what you've been learning in the previous videos. So we're going to use this as an opportunity to really reinforce what we learned in the previous videos. So very simply, if an equation has an x or a negative x in it, you can mentally just kind of place a 1 in front of it. So x is the same as 1x. If that helps, then certainly put it there. It's kind of like saying, well, I have $1 versus I have $1. Right? It means the same thing, but oftentimes in math we just write x. And really all it means is 1x. So if you like, place that 1 in front of it and it'll work out exactly like it would if you didn't have it there. And the same thing with negative x. If you have negative x, that's the same as negative 1x. So you just kind of stick a 1 in between the negative and the x there. You just kind of throw a 1 there. So it's negative 1x. Now let's have a look at a problem that deals with this. So we'll get rid of our box here. X plus 6 equals 3x minus 2. So notice we have an x in here. So if it helps, we can just stick a 1 in front of that to help make sense of it. So 1x plus 6 equals 3x minus 2. So now we just solve as normal. We're going to try to get x by itself. So I like dealing with the numbers first, the negative 2 and the 6. So I'm going to move, let's move the negative 2, and I'm going to add 2 to both sides, that means. So I'm going to say 1x plus 6 plus 2 equals 3x minus 2 plus 2. And just like before, negative 2 and plus 2 go to 0. So on the right, I'm just left with that 3x. On the left, I'm going to combine the 6 and the 2 to make 8. So I'm going to get 1x plus 8 equals 3x. Now at this point here, I'm going to get I want to combine my x's. So my smaller of my x's is going to be the 1x. And right now it's a positive 1x. I don't usually write the positive in front, but just if it helps to see it, it's positive 1x. So to get rid of it, to move it to the other side, I'm going to subtract 1x, and my plus 8 stays there. And if I subtracted 1x from the left, I have to also subtract 1x from the right. And again, just like before, plus 1x minus 1x, that goes to 0. So on the left, I'm just left with 8. And on the right, I get, over here, I get 3x minus 1x is 2x. Now I'm multiplying x by 2. The opposite of that is going to be to divide it by 2. So I'll do that to both sides. They're going to cancel one another out here. So I'll just be left with x equals, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now notice how I think most in the other examples I had x on the variable, I should say, the letter on the left-hand side. Here I have it on the right. It means the exact same thing, in case you're wondering. I could just as easily rewrite this as x equals 4. Means the exact same thing. And again, just like before, let's go back and we'll check our work. So I'm going to divide my page here. And I have 1x plus 6 equals 3x minus 2. So in the place of x, I'm going to put 4 because that's what I found down here. So in x and x up here, I'm going to put a 4. So that's going to turn into 1 times 4 plus 6 equals 3 times 4 minus 2. 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12, so I'll work those out. And then I get, look, 4 plus 6 is 10. 12 minus 2 is 10, so that means my answer is indeed correct. Okay, some more practice with this. Again, it's a very easy kind of first step, right? All we're going to do when we have these m's, in this case it wasn't an x, but it's the same case with an m, all we're going to do is we're going to stick a 1 in front. So if you like, we can rewrite it as 3 minus 1m equals 5 plus 1m. Now we're going to want to get m by itself, so you can approach this a few different ways. If you deal with the numbers first, I like to deal with the numbers. So I'll take the smallest one I have is 3, and I want to get rid of it, so I'll subtract 3 from the left. And if I do that on the left, I got to subtract 3 on the right. Okay, these two here go away, so that goes to 0. And I'm just left with negative 1m. 5 minus 3 here goes to 2. So I'm left with 2 plus 1m. Now I want to group my m's. Now just notice, if I try to get this m over to this side, it's not going to be effective because I'm lumping m's together with my numbers here. This 2 is going to be lumped together with my m's. I don't want that. I want to move this m over here. Even though it's going to give me a negative, that's okay. We can deal with negatives. So we'll subtract 1m from either side. So we're going to have negative 1m minus 1m equals 2 plus 1m minus 1m. The reason we chose that is because that goes to 0. Right? 1m minus 1m is 0. Minus 1m minus 1m is negative 2m. And now to get m by itself, as it stands, I'm multiplying it by negative 2. I want to do the opposite of multiplying by negative 2. I want to divide by negative 2. And I got to do the same to the other side if I do that. And I'm left with just, I'm going to write it to the side, m equals, well, 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. So we'll take a moment just to check our work on this. No point in doing all that work and then not checking it to make sure we got the right answer. So we'll rewrite our equation. 3 minus m equals 5 plus m. And everywhere there's an m, we're going to replace it with negative 1. Right? So where there's an m and an m, we're saying m equals negative 1. So we're going to replace those m's with negative 1. So here we got to be very careful with the signs. This minus sign right here is going to be on top of the negative sign that's going to come with the m. Okay, so in our answer we're going to write 3 minus. Now I'm going to do my substitution for m, which is negative 1. And I'm going to say 5 plus negative 1. Okay, be very, very careful there, because when we have 3 minus negative 1, it's really the same as saying 3 plus 1. So we have 4 over there. And when we have 5 plus negative 1, we really have, that's the same as saying 5 minus 1, so we just have 4. So it does check out. That means that our 4 equals 4. That means our answer of m equals negative 1 is the correct response.